What's up, everybody? Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 card review. Hit a review a card coming in Realm of Light Structure Deck, June 27th. So that's later on this month. What we're looking at here is Lightsworn Sanctuary, a new card that will be coming in the structure deck for the Lightsworns. It is a continuous spell card. Description: once per turn, you can send one Lightsworn monster from your hand to the graveyard, then target one other Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Each time a card or cards is sent from your deck to the graveyard, place one shine counter on this card. If a Lightsworn card or cards you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can remove two shine counters from your side of the field for each of those Lightsworn cards instead. So here's the thing about me. I've never played a Lightsworn build, like, ever. I never bothered with making a build as far as I can remember, and I never bothered with trying to play the Lightsworn build. But I went up against enough of them to build a pretty solid opinion about how they work, and I've seen enough of them for that same reason. Um, Here's the thing: I've always been a person that never net deck, and because of that, anytime I make my own build, I always try to make whatever disadvantage the build may have into my advantage. Now, I've made like several, comparisons with this in past videos. I don't want to dive into it too much, but in the case with this card, this is actually doing that very thing. It's making the disadvantage, or what would normally be considered a disadvantage with the Lightsworns, into an advantage that they can use. Normally, at the end, or like for those who never bothered to even see or use a Lightsworn build, the way that the system for the Lightsworn works is that during the end phase, you have to send a certain number of cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. And you have to do this every time during the end phase. So you can only imagine how much trouble that could cause for the Lightsworn users, because you can end up milling cards that you may be looking forward to using, later on in the game. But there's no way to get those cards back necessarily. Or like there's little to no ways to get those cards back with today's Lightsworn builds that I've seen used. So, and the cards that can get them back, you know, if you throw them into a Lightsworn build, it just causes clutter, and you don't really need to put them in there like that. So it's really like you're taking a chance with the Lightsworns. Like, will you get lucky enough to mill, you know, just enough to get your uh, your main deck strategy off, or will you end up milling something that you're going to end up regretting milling? Or, I'm saying, like, will you mill something that may make you feel like, damn, I wish I hadn't played Lightsworns? you know, it's really one of those moments. So at least with this one, all that milling that they do, because I've beaten Lightsworn builds off of the fact that they've milled good cards off of that effect that happens during the end phase with them. And of course, the reason why it happens is pretty much just for two reasons. The first reason being that you mill because you want to get Wolf in the graveyard in order to, special summon it, you know, and secondly, because you want to put Lightsworn monsters in the graveyard as quickly as possible in order for you to special summon Judgment Dragon. Now, this card can actually help you benefit from all that milling instead of just those two reasons alone. Because really, there's no other reason for you to do it. You know what I mean? There's really no other reason for you to mill that much with the Lightsworns. Like, it doesn't lend itself to anything else other than that. So, at least with this one, now it can go towards protecting your Lightsworn monsters. And since it's just a natural thing with the Lightsworns to mill during the end phase, all of them do it. maybe the Lightsworn users can kind of work some type of strategy to where, or like really work some type of build to where like you can balance out the number of cards that you mill during the end phase, so that when you do that, at least you'll still be milling enough for you to add at least 2 shine counters, so like per turn. Like that would be something creative for them. And I think this is a card that the Lightsworn should have had a long time ago, because they really need something like this. To have a card that completely aids and helps or gives something to all that milling, it's like a pretty good thing. And on top of that, on another note, oftentimes you see um, monsters in card artworks that don't really lend itself well to the, like the archetype or whatever build that it seems to be geared towards. But in this case with uh, Minerva, it kind of does in a sense. I mean, with Minerva, it's like, she has an ability that, depending on the different number of monsters uh, in the archetype or in the graveyard, then you can take that level light dragon out your deck, so you can search out Judgment Dragon, or at least that's the intention. And on top of that, you'll be able to send Minerva from your hand to the graveyard via this card's effect and activate Minerva's effect, which is probably the reason why she's on uh, that stage right there, because she has an effect that activates that when you send her from the deck or the hand to the graveyard, you get to send a top card of your deck to the graveyard. So it kind of activates that effect. Plus, you end up switching monsters because you send. Well, obviously, what they're saying is that in the card artwork is that they want you to use Minerva for this card's effect. You send Minerva from your hand to the graveyard, and you activate her effect. At the same time, you get to pick another Lightsworn out your graveyard and add it to your hand. So there may be a Lightsworn in your graveyard that you didn't mean to mill, or that you wish you didn't mill, but now because of this card, like at least you'll be able to get that Lightsworn back. And with Minerva, you'll be able to activate Lightsworn Sanctuary's effect, and you'll be able to at least put 1 shine counter on the card. So that was just like a little something that I noticed. You know, Oftentimes when you get monsters in card artworks, the monster doesn't really work with the card artwork. Like it's really just like pretty much like a knockoff version of whatever the monster effect was. So really it does work with it. So that's cool. So yeah, link to this card is going to be in the description. You guys can check it out, and I'll see you for the next card review. Peace.